Hello, everyone. My name is Dirk Müller-Remus from Berlin. I'm the founder of Auticon and Diversicon. These are two companies for the engagement of people with autism. How did I come to this issue, to this problem, to this topic? Well, I have 4 children, and one of them was diagnosed with Asperger syndrome in 2007. My wife and me were really concerned about that, but on the one hand, we are quite happy with it because now we know what was different with our son, and on the other hand, we knew that this is not just a disease; it's a lifelong impairment for my son. Well, then we went to a self-help group in Berlin 1 year later, and the topic on this day was autism and work. And there were 20 Asperger people who told their private, personal, professional story. And they had a very good education, all of these 20 people. But at the end, when the last one was ready with his story, we knew no one of them had a job. And that annoyed me very, very much. And I thought, we have to do something, we have to change something. And this was the initial point for founding Auticon in 2011. Well, here we see Auticon. It's an IT consulting company. It works quite normal, like other IT consulting companies, with one big difference. Our consultants are all together in the autistic spectrum. And we have now, after 10 years now, we have 6 branches in Germany, but also we have a lot of subsidiaries in Europe and overseas. And we have now created about 400 jobs worldwide. And the financing of the company is just via sales for about 90%. I think that's a good ground to make business, but also create jobs. And that's the sense of Auticon, the combination of social approach and business. It's not another company which only takes people and gets federal money. That's the difference. It's a normal company. On the other hand, we knew from the beginning that just 10 to 15% of all autists like IT. 85% to 90% don't like it. They have other interests. Let's say art, music, techniques, physics, chemical, and so on. And so we started a new company in 2017, which focuses on personal services. And the purpose of this company is to create jobs for neurodivergent people. It's just at the moment it's located in Berlin, but we plan the same thing with Diversicon, like we did it with Auticon. So I think in some years we will see Diversicon in Europe, but also perhaps worldwide. I don't know at the moment. So the thing is, Diversicon creates jobs for autistic people in partner companies. That means we have contact to companies who are interested in hiring people on the autism spectrum. Yeah, and both companies, I think, show that the model itself works. So let's go to the other slide. So I think the success formula is that we have seen this so many times at Auticon and Diversicon. We had people there who are really able to create jump innovation. That means disruptive models. And the combination is put together a different thinker with his breadth, with his pattern recognition, and you will get jump innovations. And that's the story I tell all the people in business companies. What's the added value for you to hire autistic people? I know that not everyone is able to create jump innovations, but I think it was 10 to 20%. And we see the basic abilities of these people. And I think that's the strength which other people do not have in this intensivity. Okay. So I will show you a typical different thinker. Matthias had sent us a job application for Auticon. He was there, he was 38 years. He was unemployed, he had 20 jobs before, and he didn't know what to do with himself. So he came to Auticon, and his application was an email of 2 lines. I want to work at Auticon. That was it in total. So we invited him, and he sat there in my office, and we talked a little bit. And then I asked him, what do you like at Auticon? And what he said was, I don't know. I don't know. What are your abilities? I don't know. What are your strengths? I don't know. What do you like the most in your jobs? So I said, okay, for what do you spend the most of your time? Okay, I read. Okay, I asked, what do you read? User manuals. Okay, that's interesting. I said, okay, and for whom? What do you do with this business user manuals? I translate them. Okay, and in which languages? Swedish, Hungarian, Finnish. So at the end, it was clear that he spoke 7 foreign languages and he spoke 8 programming languages. And when I asked him what he is able to do, the only answer was, I don't know. And that's the difference between normal people and autistic people. If you have a normal one in front of you and you have a job interview and this guy knows just 20% of what is really relevant, he will sell it for 80%. And autistic people are the total opposite of it. If they know something for 80%, they sell it for 20%. And that's typical for these people. They focus on the tasks. They are not interested for a career or so on. And they are not extroverted. They are not loud. And they are not team oriented. And that's what people are not used to handle in the companies. And that's the reason why, because of the social interaction. That's the problem. Social interaction, communication is a big problem. And that's the reason why these people, I told you from the self-help group, why they were unemployed. That was the only reason. What distinguishes creative, different thinkers from others? I think they are creative, so they know, they see things before they exist. They have a pictorial ability to imagine what can be a new thing. They are interested in structural system-related problems. They know exactly from the beginning what's the background of the system, and they understand how it works, and they ask good questions on that. They inform themselves broadly and in detail. They can be well alone with themselves. They ask uncomfortable questions. They're looking for the core of things. They question themselves, and they like to try something out. and they don't know taboos or boundaries in thinking. That's how creative thinkers are. And I think most of the Asperger artists are guys like these. And that's interesting for the whole economy. We have so many tasks in the future, the transformation, what is next, the environment pollution, and we know that there are a lot of tasks which need to be solved, and there are people who can do that, and we should take care of them because they can be very valuable in the future. What are the special talents of artists? I think first of it's a detail-oriented perception. If you have already worked with artists, you know what I mean. That means they see things what we don't perceive. Yeah? They have the very good pattern recognition. What's very important for AI, that's AI is pattern recognition. And I think people who are naturally born with the ability of pattern recognition, they are the right people for the future things which wait for us. They have a genuine quality awareness. They have their structural thinking, and they have special interests in branches or technologies. And what we found out at Auticon and Diversicon, we see three main fields where people in the autism spectrum like to work. That's logic and technology, artistic creativity, and languages. And why these three main things? Because it's filled out with pattern recognition. If you look at music, if you see at languages, it's all pattern recognition. And that's why it's so easy for them to learn new languages and why it's so easy to understand music. Yeah. And I think that's very interesting to bring them into the right jobs. That's what's behind it. I know a lot of autistic people who already worked for Auticon, and we have seen them at Diversicon at the same. We know the big problems in social interaction and communication. You will see that when you work together with artists. It's not the same communication as you are used to be, but you have learned. Forget it. Don't use social things like, it would be nice if you could do something for me in the next time. That's not a sentence which can be understood by an autistic. Why should I be friendly? Why? What should I do? In which time? In which form? That's what they need to know, and you can forget all the social things what you learned in your former career. They are honest. Honesty is not easy in business environment. You know that if you try to be honest for 1 week at your job, you can be sure you will have problems. But these people are honest, and they can't not be different from to be honest. And I think that needs to be known by the companies. They need to be prepared that there are people who are a little bit different from others, and the most important thing is that they are honest, because that people are not used to work with people who are absolutely 400% honest, and that's the reason why we work with job coaches at Auticon and at Diversicon, because it needs to be translated to the people in the companies. They need to know yeah, what they can expect if there comes an artist to their company. And I think that's a good thing that we have job coaches, and because they are some kind of combination between the artist and the company. We know that meetings are often dominated by extroverted people. The artists are quiet, introverted, and so they are often they are overlooked. And I think that's a bad thing, because these people are important for companies, and we should not forget them. We should look very precise on exactly these people. Processing depth of different thinker often overwhelming. We know that it's they think too deep for other people. They think too connected. They think in networks, and sometimes it's too complex for other people. So it's important that you have a job coach who can translate what is meant by the artist. But the kernel of what he says, of what they say, is very important, and very important for the work and the progress of the work. We know that artists are not interested in parties, like or in going out to a bar, restaurant. You know, they should be free of coming with the other people or not. And that's also a very important task of the job coaches, to tell the people that. What are the success factors in the work with different thinkers like artists? I think it's important to have fixed contact persons who help them to find where can I get out to find something to eat, what are the regulations in the company, and so on. And it's important to have someone like a buddy, that's someone like a buddy. We need clear processes and tasks, clear and open communication, and a low stimulus work environment. That means big offices with hundreds of people are not perfect, not really. And we have to find different solutions for our consultants, that they have an environment where they work for themselves in a good atmosphere. Yeah. Task areas is, I would say, everything what's about quality control, research and analysis, structuring and optimization, development and design, and priority 2 tasks. Let's say we have priority 1 tasks. That means they are very time regulated. It's urgent. And these are not the tasks which Asperger artists like to perform. Better priority 2 tasks. It's not too urgent, but it's important for the company. Let's say we have to actualize our manuals. We have to actualize our database. We have to actualize our tables, whatever. And these are the right tasks for autistic people. And at the end, I would say the added value for companies is they have different thinkers with a high creativity, pattern recognition, unusual networking of information, and deep thinking. And I think that's very important. The effects for the companies can be radically simplified business processes, original innovative products and services, and there are pioneers like SAP, Microsoft, Ernst & Young, JP Morgan Chase, or Ford, who work in the same way like Auticon tries to do. And I think these are good examples. And the added value for the autistic people is they have a job. The companies get a very good performance. and the society. They have no longer transfer recipients. They have people who pay into the social security and taxes. So I think it's all in all, it's a triple added value for the society, the companies, and the artists. And I think that's it. I hope we will have later a little bit discussion. And I would like to thank you for your that you stood here in this presentation. Thank you very much.